All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Season Ticket Holders. I'm your host, Dane Lillingston, and it's fight week, baby. We are back. UFC 315. We've got another Aussie fighting for the title. Belal Muhammad up against Jack Della Maddalena, our boy, the Perth product. I got my boy Tom back again, as always, returned from Thailand, ready to claim the belt himself, the Australian Muay Thai future champion. Tom, you're
Oh,
back for
I
an
love these intros. They're getting better and better, Dane. Thank you so much for having me back, bro.
You're back for another one, mate. How was the fight camp over there, mate?
It was awesome. We had a really good go. We trained at Bang Tao and at AKA. I got about 20 sessions in the 12 days that we were there, so I had a good crack and then just kind of ran myself into the ground and got a little bit crook on that flight home. But other than that, it was the best trip. Good group of boys. We trained hard. Couple of singers, couple of beers here and there, but it was good fun, man. It was a great trip, but good to be home.
Just a couple of singers?
Yeah, we had 3 nights where we kind of let loose, but it was good fun. Yeah, one of
And
them was Thai New Year, so you could not.
you couldn't know, no way.
Yeah, it was an experience. It was fun.
Well, I know how you feel, mate, because I was just telling you off the podcast, but I had 6 weeks out with a hamstring injury. Just went back to rolling last week, and I've got my butt handed to me, man. My gas tank is at zero. I've been getting smashed left, right, and center. My neck is sore. My hips are done, and that's a third stripe white belt, I guess, for you.
It doesn't take long, eh? It's a full-time job trying to maintain that cardio.
Oh, I've got like one roll in the moment and I just put it all in there, and then I gas, and then I fall apart in a pool of sweat, and can't wait to get out of there. But it's great fun. We
Oh,
love jiu-jitsu, don't we?
what about you? Just got to pull from bulk. Adversity is a privilege. That's where we're at right now.
I'm gonna write that.
Crawling back.
I'm gonna write it on the inside of my gi and see if that helps.
How good.
Mate, fight week. It's probably gone under the radar a little bit, this one, UFC 315. I know we were talking in the office this morning, and a few of the UFC fans were like, oh, there's an Aussie fighting for the title. And a few of the other guys like, who? I've never heard of that guy. And I suppose that's the image. It's not an Alexander Volkanovski. It's not a Robbie Whittaker, but Jack Della Maddalena. He's been one of the up-and-coming fighters. I've loved watching him come through the ranks. I remember I've got multiple tweets saying next UFC Australian champion, watching his fights, incredible knockout power. Just to take you through his record a little bit, he's had 19 fights and 2 losses, but those 2 losses were the very two first fights he ever had in his professional career. So he lost his very first 2 fights, and then he's won every other one since. So what do you make of that, man? Because that's a pretty cool record. I mean, you get in there, you get those ones out of the way, but he put it together pretty quickly.
Yes, well, he's obviously he learned pretty quickly how to win, and he hasn't lost since. So he's such an exciting fighter. He's out of Perth. He's had a few fights in the UFC now. I remember seeing him first, oh, probably three or 4 years ago now, and just the crispest boxing and hands that I'd seen from an Aussie fighter since like Rob Whittaker. And I was kind of like, this is the next kind of Rob Whittaker. And I was like, this guy's amazing. And he just sits back and sees these shots coming, and he's out of the way, and he just counters, and they're not the hardest punches ever, but they're just crisp and on the money, and it's just beautiful to watch. And I'm like, for him to have this opportunity, and he hasn't lost. I think he could really upset the world here, and he could become the champion, and we could have two Aussie champions at the moment, and it's amazing.
In back-to-back pay-per-view cards. I mean, that'd be pretty incredible having Alexander Volkanovski pull it off last fight
Yes.
for him to
He's
do
a
it
bit of a
again.
quiet achiever, I feel, Jack, too. He's not massive on the microphone. He kind of lets his fighting do the talking. He's not one to, start a rivalry or rev up the opposition too much. He just kind of gets in there, he gets it done. I kind of really like that. I feel that's a kind of an Aussie way to go about things, and he lets his fighting do the talking, and he's an amazing fighter, and I'm really, really excited to see this fight on the weekend.
Dude, 100%. He's 28. So, like we said, a 15 fight win streak. Now, I'm just going to go backwards a little bit. Gilbert Burns fought in 2024. Now, that was back in March. He's had some injury concerns since then. He got pulled from a fight with Leon Edwards earlier in the year. So, he could fight for this fight and the belt. Before that, that was probably his biggest test, a split decision with Kevin Holland. Obviously, did get the nod, and then a split decision with Basil Hafez as well on a fight night. But up until that point, those were both all three rounders. He had a first round knockout, first round submission of Randy Brown, a TKO of Danny Roberts, TKO of Ramazan Emev, and another TKO against Pete Rodriguez. Those were four first round finishes in a row. And he got into the UFC by winning a decision on Dana White's Contender Series. So you touched on his striking, man, but he is one of the best MMA strikers, I would say, going around. He doesn't rely on his kicks too heavily, but like you said, he's got some crisp boxing that seems to really take effect. I think it was the Gilbert Burns fight where he was struggling to get back up, but as soon as he got back up, he really made it count. I think that was the one where he sort of got up and got in with the elbow a little bit, and
Yes,
it was a really nice fight to watch, right? I think he proved his credentials in that one.
definitely. That fight against Gilbert Burns was his biggest test today. And I remember thinking, oh, he could be in a bit of trouble here. Like Gilbert's, he's a well-established legend of the UFC. Really, he's been in wars, and that was such a cool fight to watch, and to see Jack really, give it back and win and prove how tough he is. And in that fight, he apparently broke his arm and pushed through, and that was in the earlier rounds. And he said at the time, like he couldn't feel it because of how much adrenaline and what was going on. But that just shows how tough he is, and he pushed through and won that fight. And that's when I thought, wow, he's the real deal here, and this we could have another Aussie champ on our hands.
And a broken arm, man, especially when you rely on your arms as much as he does, or
So
anyone in
gnarly,
MMA.
and to keep throwing punches with it, like it's just insane. It's next level toughness.
It's that Aussie battler spirit, and we love to see it. He had to get surgery, and of course, that means a lengthy layoff. So I guess coming into this, you would think there might be a little bit of ring rust coming in. I mean, he probably hasn't had to deal with the layoff. He always had a lot of momentum heading into that UFC run that he had. Would we be worried a little bit that ring rust might come into it a bit over 12 months off?
Potentially, but I feel like he has just not stopped training. He's one of those guys. He's constantly in the gym. I think he's been training with Volk and his team down at Volk's gym, and with the likes of Craig Jones and Frank Hickman and all of Volk's kind of trainers and that crew. And all those guys are like, JDM is very good. Like he's a freak. Like he's next level. And for those guys with their credentials and being in Volk's team, saying that about JDM, and obviously they know what they're talking about. I think we're in for something special here, and Jack can really prove it on the weekend. And Belal is a pretty lame champion that no one really likes. I don't even think the UFC likes Belal. He's
I think you're
boring.
right.
I think he's got to go. And if JDM can be the man to get rid of him, even better.
I do want to touch on that because we are going to get to him in a second, but you make some really good points about Bilal as well. But just still with Jack for a little bit, you mentioned the Volk team. There was that video doing the rounds. I don't know if you saw it, that apparently he submitted Craig Jones.
Wow, that
Have
is
you,
massive. And
that,
Craig Jones, he's not playing around. Like when he rolls, it's pretty full on. Like he's not there to just get tapped out. Like he's having a crack. Like, yeah.
well, the thing was is with this video, there are some doubts about its authenticity. I mean, it's a real video, but whether he actually let him do it or not, it appears that he choked him out. But we know Craig Jones is one of the best BJJ practitioners in the world. He said it's as real as it gets. But you would have to think it's a bit. I'm going to let you watch it later. Maybe you tell me later what you think about it anyway.
Yeah, you'll have to send it to me. I feel like Craig Jones does love a G up and a bit of a laugh too. He's a pretty loose character, so
He doesn't take anything too seriously. Now,
he's good value.
exactly. And this is a fight between grappler strike. I mean, that's what we expect. We expect Madalena's going to come out if he does get the finish. We're expecting to be on the feet with his punches. You can't really see him winning a decision, I would think. It's that classic grappler striker. So it will be interesting to see. He has said that he thinks he can stop the takedown because that is going to be the big question in this fight. If he can stop Bilal coming in the takedown, he's going to have plenty of success. If he forces this to be on the feet, you'd have to really like Madalena's chances here in this one. He's confident. He's also said that he's going to be comfortable on his back. So whether that is him just putting out some puff before the fight, we'll have to wait
Mm.
and see. But if that is true, that's going to be massive because he's going to need to handle that grappling. We'll go to Bilal. We just mentioned him. Obviously, he is the welterweight champion. But as you also mentioned, he's probably not the most popular champion we have in the UFC, if not the least popular at the moment. His
Mm.
style is a lot more grinding. He likes to get people against the cage, wins it with his grappling, not too exciting. He obviously went toe to toe with Leon and made him look silly, really. And Leon was supposed to
Mm.
be the best striker, apparently, in the UFC at the time.
That's what
Um,
concerns me because Leon, he's a striker and he's very crisp and very good, and Bilal did that to him. So if that's what JDM is, maybe Bilal has the answers, and he's proven it with Leon before. That is my only concern going into this weekend, that he has versed one of the best strikers in that division and handled it well and took the title. So yeah, but surely JDM knows this and has answers.
Mate, a lot of people called Leon the best striker in the UFC, like not just
Yes,
even in his weight division. So for him to
watching
do
him
that,
hit pads is just wild. Like it's next level. Yeah.
in that regard, I mean, is this a battle of, like I just mentioned, it's all going to be about the takedown because Bilal is going to come at him. He's going to get this real aggressive sort of grappling style. I reckon he's really going to want to put him on the cage. I think he has said in interviews this week leading up to fight week that he would stand with Jack, but I would have to think that that is complete BS because I can't see him wanting to go. We've seen the power that Maddalena has, man. He can crack
Mm,
you, he can finish you.
mm.
He has that ability. Would you
Goes to the
really?
body, goes to the head. I feel like he'll cop a couple of those combinations and he won't be interested and try and take it to the ground.
Could you really see Bilal wanting to willingly stand with him
I don't think so. I think that's a bit of talk before the fight. But if he does, that'll be awesome to watch.
as an Aussie fight fan? Let's bring on
Yes.
back-to-back champions, baby. And Jack isn't as big as outsider as we probably think too. I just had a look on Sportsbet, still waiting for the sponsorship, but 247 he's paying, so he's not that rated
Yeah,
that much
wow.
of an outsider. And the money bet, I would say it's paying $4.10 for a knockout for
Wow,
Jack.
that's
So
put your house on it.
are you your
Maybe
house?
not. No. No, maybe not the house, but I'll
Tell the
put it
wife.
probably $20. Yeah.
I think it's worth a little bit, but
Yeah, for sure.
just into predictions. Bilal was also training during Ramadan, but I think we've seen through many fighters that they're able just to get through that and not even observe it during sort of fight week and that type of thing. How do you see this one playing out, mate? Because in my mind, I'm seeing Jack at the finish, but this is obviously the biggest test of his career. First championship fight. Doesn't have too much experience in 5 round fights. So if he does it early, that's what we'd be hoping for. But I could also see this going for a few rounds. Maybe Jack can wear him down if he can stuff the takedown. We're looking to round 3, 4. That's going to be my prediction. I'm going to go with it. Jack finish and new back-to-back Australian champions and back-to-back pay-per-views. What a moment that'd be for Australian MMA.
It'd be amazing. And two champions at the same time from Australia. Um, man, it can't get any better as an Aussie UFC fan.
Let's do it, baby. How do
Yes,
you
I
how do you think
love it.
how do you think it's going to go
I
down?
I don't I'm kind of on the fence because my heart, I want JDM knockout in devastating fashion, new champ, let's go. But I'm also concerned Bilal is just gonna grind on him, lay on him, do what's needed to win, and it's gonna be lame, and I'm gonna be trying to throw something at the TV.
And that's what the UFC, like you said, probably don't want as well. Because even just to make this title fight to begin with, a lot of people were shocked that Jack was even getting this opportunity. Because right now, I guess there isn't any real contenders putting their hands up in the welterweight division. I mean, I was just having a look
Mm,
at it before. At the moment, Sean Brady is ranked number 1. He beat Leon Edwards, Shavkat Rakhmonov, number 2, Leon's 3, Kamaru Usman's 4, and Jack's currently ranked 5th. In the
mm.
welterweight division. So a lot of people were shocked that this was the fight that they made, but obviously love that he gets the opportunity. And
Isn't
on
it interesting? Kamaru's still in that ranking. Like he's number 4. He hasn't fought for ages.
the UFC loves it. I mean, look at John Jones,
Yeah,
still a champion.
true. That's true. And he was champ for a very long time. Yeah.
um, and just on Bilal too, he hasn't lost since 2019. That was a
Yeah.
decision to
Wow.
Jeff Neal, which seems weird now. And he's only lost 3 times, and all two decisions, and he got knocked out once back in 2016. So that's how long it goes back. Since
Wow.
then, yeah, he's on a run that's gone through Leon Edwards, Gilbert Burns, Sean Brady, Vincent Luque, Stephen Thompson, Damian Maya. Uh, Four decisions out of those five I just said. He did TKO Brady in a performance of the night back in 2022. But before that, he really is a decision heavy type of fighter. So
Mm.
let's hope that it's a
He's got a
cracker.
better credentials than JDM, but JDM hasn't been around as long, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I can't wait.
I can't wait for the fight either, man. It's another,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and we've said this before on previous ones, but it is one of those top heavy cards. Like, there's not
Yes.
really too much that's filling out this card. I have no real interest in the prelims unless for the very, very diehards. But of course, it is two championship fights, and we'll go to the next one because one of the goats of women's MMA and Valentina Shevchenko will take on Manon Fiorot, the French up and comer. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. Valentina is coming off a trilogy against Alexa Grasso. Really shocked when she lost that back in 2024. Last year was last year, I think it was.
Mm.
Um, and then when she got stopped there, she came back. It was a split draw. So Grasso retained, and then Valentina left no questions at all in the third fight to complete the trilogy. And I did get the chance to speak to Valentina. I did a one-on-one with
Yes,
her for
I can't
Fox.
wait for you to tell this story. This
What are
is
you talking
awesome.
about, Tom? No, I got a chance to interview Valentina last week for Fox Sports News. Um, and look, she's awesome, very positive, lovely person to talk to. I don't know if we exactly got off on the right foot talking about fighting, but I did ask her a question that she's 37, she's the two-time flyweight champion of the world, and I just wanted to know, what's left when it comes to that time. I don't think we've seen too many women's MMA fighters push and become a champion into their 40s. Obviously, that's still a few years away from her, but she wasn't having it at all as far as I'm concerned. She may have said, "You talk like you think I'm 50," which was not my intention at all. But look, no, we recovered in the interview and it was all close. But what I got and the sense that I got from her during the chat was that she's very much in the mindset. She's not thinking anything about the future. She's very much in the now. She's obviously reclaimed the belt, two-time champion, number one women's pound for pound currently in the world, will go down as one of the all-time greats. And her mentality is she's going to fight for as long as she's fit, and she has no intentions of slowing down anytime soon. So, Tom, if you ever interview Valentina Shevchenko, don't ask her about retirement.
Don't mention age.
No
I
age.
guess I think it was a fair question though, what you asked. Like you weren't really out of line, but I think she's a bit robotic and stiff at the best of times. She's a bit of a just a terminator. So maybe there was a bit of a language barrier. Maybe that's just her personality. I don't think you offended her too much, but if you don't get a second interview, then maybe there's your answer.
Yeah, I'll be calling the UFC asking what happened. But no, look, and she's positive, she's motivated, and she's hungry. That is the sense that I got from our chat together. We had about 10 minutes together, and she seemed like a really lovely talent as well. But she's obviously fired up. But the interesting thing about this is she is going in against a French challenger, and Valentina is going to go in as the underdog. So she is currently paying
Wow.
about 220. So what have you made of this fight? What are your thoughts?
I think she's just the best and gonna prove it again. And I don't know. I can't see her losing. She's just a weapon. And I don't know. I kind of feel this French girl, I haven't heard a whole lot about her, but I can't believe she's the favorite. That's really interesting. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah, well, 24 and 4. I mean, like I said, so this
Mm,
Grasso trilogy started back in 2023. She got face cranked. Then they ran it back in September of that year. That's when it was a split draw. Then they ran it back a year later. And that was when she got a really dominant decision to win the title back. Before that, she'd been on an absolute tear.
yeah.
A few finishes in there, and she hadn't lost since 2017, and that was to Amanda Nunes. Before that, she lost in 2016, also to Amanda Nunes. And you got to go back to 2010 to find someone not named Amanda Nunes. That was Liz Carmouche. So that's the type of dominant run that she's been on. She's 24,
Wow.
4 and 1. So pretty incredible run for her. Now, Manon, like you said, we don't know too much about her, but she's currently 12 and 1. And just like Jack, her first loss came in her first fight, and that was a split decision. She's since gone on a 12 fight win streak. Most recently in March of last year, she decisioned Erin Blanchfield. She decisioned Rose Namajunas. So she's gone on a little bit of a run. All decisions here. She had a couple of knockouts early in her career. She had back-to-back finishes, but since then she's strung five decision wins in a row. And I did check the odds before. If she is to win, you're thinking it's a decision fight, unless Valentina can crack her, which you'd like to see. That the favorite is for Firo to get the decision. What's your fight
Mm.
prediction?
Yeah, I'm going Valentina KO, but maybe I'm living in her dominant realm a few years ago. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
Well, I did ask her what she learned from that trilogy, and she said
Mm,
the main thing for her, and it seems a little bit obvious, I guess, when it comes to the fight game. She said, I learnt now you never leave it in the judge's hands. And maybe
mm,
you'd think after such a long career, but she felt like she really got robbed in that second fight against Grasso in the split decision. She was really confident she won that one, and she came back and she very obviously won the third one. I asked her, do you think that that means in future fights you really will maybe push for the finish more than you would have, knowing that these types of things do happen? And she said yes. So my sense is that she will get in there. She doesn't want to let the judges aside, but she also was realistic. She said, I know it's easy to say that, but you're coming up against the best competition in the world. I like to say that now, but that's not always what's going to happen in the octagon.
yes. No, it's so true. And yeah, that's pretty awesome insight and really cool that you got to speak to her one on one. That's
It was
awesome.
nice. Hopefully, I get another
Yeah,
chance.
that's really cool.
And as far as Fiorot goes to, I was watching Countdown with her. Very interesting story. Her dad was an international wrestler. I found it very fascinating. She unfortunately lost her father, but he was sort of her inspiration. She picked up karate when she was 7, and then she got into kickboxing. So she very much comes from that striking background, but it looks like she's really been trying to work on that ground game and that wrestling to see what happens. So it
That's
looks like an
cool.
exciting co-main event. Of course, 2 championship fights. You never sneeze at that. So yeah, look, I'm going to back in Valentina. Maybe that'll win some brownie points back if she ever watches this, um, and hopefully she can get the finish. That's what I'd like to see anyway.
Yeah, love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll
How
do it.
good.
Love you, Valentina, if you're listening.
I didn't mean to offend you.
Yeah. I don't know my third stripe white belt's going to hold up very well if we
Yeah,
have
I
to go
reckon
through it.
she'd probably bash both of us at the same time. So we'd
Oh,
be in a bit of strife.
well, you've got the striking, I've got the jiu-jitsu. Let's see if we can combine together. Um,
I reckon she'd still win.
yeah, we're definitely done.
Classic.
Mate, we'll just have a quick look at the rest of the main event, but obviously we can't go past. There is a legend fighting on this card in Jose Aldo. He
Yes.
is back from losing a close split decision. I remember that fight. I think it looked like he won against Mario Bautista. I think I might have thought watching it live at the time, I thought he won. He won a decision before that, and then he lost the decision to Marab, the fight before that. So, yeah, so 2 losses and a win, so 2 decisions, pretty close.
How old is Aldo now? Speaking of fighters getting a bit older.
Well, he's 38. He almost feels
Oh,
older just because
wow.
he's been around for so long, but he's
Yes.
38, so you have to wonder what's really motivating him at the moment. He's
Mm.
up against Ayman Zahabi. Now he is 12 and 2. He's currently riding a 5-fight win streak. So I don't know how much to read into this fight and what Aldo's real motivation is, but always good to see a
Good on
legend
him.
like that back in the octagon,
Yes,
right?
definitely. And Volk came out and said recently that Aldo is the GOAT of his division, not
Yeah, right.
Volk. So there's the most ultimate respect towards Aldo and such a dominant champion for such a long time and awesome. Always good to see him get in the octagon. He always puts on a good fight, and you're going to tune in to see Jose Aldo fight whenever he does because it's always entertaining.
That is going to be the debate now, right? Like, who is the go to that division? Because it's clearly
Mm,
between those 2 men. I know we're saying it from an Aussie down under point of view, but I definitely lean towards Volkanovski. But neither of them are done yet, so you can't really judge them completely until their careers are done. Aldo's now
mm.
32 and 9. He fought for the championship back against Peter Yan in 2020. He was the last champion. He lost it to Holloway, obviously, back in 2017. But he's still going, man. He's still going, even though that's eight
It's
years now.
crazy. It's a long
And
time.
even just to fight his way back and get that second shot, well, at bantamweight rather, but he still got a second shot at the belt against Peter Yan after thinking that he wasn't. And he was an incredible tear for a time there. Before that Conor McGregor fight, he was 25 and 1, defending his belt left, right, and center. We all know
McGregor
that.
really derailed his whole situation, didn't he?
And we did, man. He got in his head. I mean, that's a fight that we're going to always look back on. It lasted 13 seconds, and he got
It
in
was
his
one of the
head.
best fights in the UFC history for sure.
And not to forget too, he came back and won the interim against Frankie Edgar the fight after that. So for him to
Wow.
regather, and then
Yes.
after that is when he got beaten by Holloway back to back, and then that was the end of the era after that. So
Gotcha.
gonna go down as
Interesting. Imagine if Volk had that McGregor sitch in his career at some stage. Would have been
he went up
nice.
against McGregor.
Yes.
Well, there were still talks of that up until like a year or two ago. Once we realized Connor was just done on drugs. But
He talks it to everyone. He threatens
I,
to fight like the guy walking down the street. Yeah.
oh, I mean, surely he's at the end of his relevancy. I mean, I know many people would say that happened years ago, but he's not fighting in the UFC again, right?
No, I don't think so. I'm still a fan, but his carry on, it's sometimes it's a bit cringy and hard to watch. But I'll always be a fan what he did for the sport, and if he does ever fight, it'll probably be one of the biggest fights ever. But I can't see it happening. He's just a rich party boy, but good on him.
It'll still do crazy
But
pay.
it's still bash you. Yeah,
Oh mate, yeah, and no one in the street. That's a
yeah,
lawsuit waiting to happen as well for him.
yeah.
And then we'll just round out the main card. Alexa
Hmm.
Grasso against Natalia Silva. So Grasso's back. Obviously, we just talked about that trilogy against Valentina. So she'll be trying to get back into that women's flyweight picture. We'll have to see how she goes. And then Benoit Saint Denis. Now his opponent did pull out with a hand injury. He's been replaced by Kyle Pripolok. So
Mm.
yeah, look, it's not a main card that you'd be. I think sitting at home wanting to fork out. How much are UFC pay-per-views these days?
I think they're like 60, $70. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely one you just want to catch at the pub for the fast last couple
Yes.
fights if we're being
Yeah.
real about.
That's what I'm planning on doing into the Manly Sharks game
Ah, there we
on
go. And
Sunday.
that
Yeah.
was my next question. And then even the prelims, the only name that stood out was Jessica Andrade, former women's strawweight champion, is on there as well. And yeah, back in Canada as well after a long time. Obviously, George St. Pierre's old stomping ground in Montreal, Quebec. So at the Bell
Apparently
Centre.
they're having trouble trying to sell it. Like there's still tickets and it's not full. And I'm like, I don't know if that's Canada dropping the ball or is that it's because the main fight is Bilal and no one's really interested. It's very strange. Like if that fight was in Australia, it would have sold out in about 15 minutes. Like it's crazy.
No, 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no real, just off the top there, no real Canadian connections either. I mean,
They should have
Manon,
put a couple of little locals, or maybe they are on the undercard. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
yes,
so
yeah,
Zahabi, the guy fighting Aldo, is Canadian.
gotcha. Well, there you
And
go. That's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So that makes sense. And Benoit's opponent on the main card as well is Canadian Prepolok.
gotcha.
So
Oh, cool.
and Fiorot is French. So I know there's that French Canadian connection as well.
Mm,
So I guess if
mm.
that counts. So there is, I guess, from a local point of view. But you're right. Like, what's the big fight card? We talked about this with the Pereira cards that we previewed. The UFC keeps getting away with doing these top heavy things and just chucking in a second title fight, thinking that they can get away by really stacking this top heavy. But even looking at that Jose Aldo fight, I don't think anyone's jumping up and down to see that
Mm,
fight. And Alexa
mm,
Grasso getting back in there again. Awesome for them, of course. But
mm.
it is a shame that we can't have these stat cards. I mean, I guess we just can't be sport, right? We can't have them every month.
Yes, yeah. No, I'm excited, but yeah, probably the last two fights is what's really grabbing me, and probably most people. Yeah. Oh, and the Jose Aldo fight. I'd like to see that for sure.
Just to see him back in there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that brings me to where we're going to watch it. Now, this is going to be the least exciting edition that I've had with you so far because I will be at work for Fox Sports News. I'll be at Macquarie Park. We do get to watch it at work, of course. We get the pay-per-views there. But I will hopefully get in time at the Salisbury, the local in Stanmore, just to watch the main event. Maddalena hopefully getting his hand raised, back-to-back Aussie wins on the pay-per-view. Please tell me that you've got something a bit more exciting.
Yes, so it's Mother's Day, so we'll be doing the family stuff in the morning, and then we're heading down to Brookvale to the breweries and doing a little bit of a brewery crawl. And there's a few venues there that play it, so we'll lock in there and watch the fights, and then stay for the Manly Sharks game. So we're in for an epic afternoon. I can't wait.
Are you just trying to rub it in, mate?
Yeah, it'll be good. I'm excited.
That's a real Sunday.
That's all right. You got to work every now and then, Dane. You got to pay the bills. You got to pay for your UFC cards,
Yeah, some of us do, mate. And that also reminds me, happy Mother's Day to all who's out there. If you're listening, happy Mother's Day. She'll love that. Best mum in the world. Tell her all the time. So
Good
love
on
you,
you,
Ma.
Dane.
Happy Mother's Day. I'll be at work just for you.
Nice,
Look,
bro.
that just about wraps it, man. And yeah, look, we're all going to be hoping, obviously, that we do get this back-to-back Aussie thing because how good would it be? I mean, it reminds me of be like back in the Robbie Volk days, when we had two guys really at the top of their divisions, which was awesome. If Jack were to do it as well, I mean, we don't know how long this Volk run's going to last, but just to have another Aussie like that, right? Like he has had this built up, this hype coming with him. We know he can get the finish. No one wants to see Belal be the champion. This would just be an awesome crowning moment again for Aussies in the UFC.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. It's just if this can all come off where we are laughing and I can't wait and I really hope he does because I think he'll be a good, humble, marketable champion for the UFC, a good Aussie, another Aussie who's a good representative for our country, a good fighter, kind of says it how it is, no kind of bullshit. I think he's a really good dude, and if he can become champ, then how good is an Aussie UFC fan?
I think you'd make a good champion.
You reckon?
You'd be a great
Well,
representative.
yeah, I'd try my best. Just the chat.
Yeah, yeah. The Northern Beaches, Muay Thai. Well, I don't know what belt you have up there, but
What song would you walk out to, Dane? What if you had a fight? What would
me,
you? Yeah.
I have thought about this plenty of times. Mine, you probably have to look it up now, but it's School Spirit by Kanye West. So
Ah, there
very
you
high up
go.
there. It's got a nice groove. We're talking early Kanye, not
Before he
crazy
lost the
Kanye.
plot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely the last decade Kanye. We're talking very early Kanye. School Spirit, go check it out because that is my walkout song. Dane, The Pain, Livingston, get out there. I
Yes.
don't know if that would actually be it. That's what they called me at school. Um, what about you, mate?
Uh, I don't know. I reckon DY by the Shades. No, that's our old band. One of our songs.
Get a plug in there, Tommy. Let's do it,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. Or maybe like Champion by Grinspoon, just to really rev everyone up. And it's
Nice
just an
rock.
old Aussie banger. Yeah,
100%.
it'll be good. Just to really like, I don't know, that song pumps you up. It'd be sick.
One of my favorite pump ups that I can't remember who walked out to it. I don't know, maybe it was it BJ. I'm not sure. Can't Stop by the Chili Peppers.
Oh yeah, Chili Peppers is my favorite band. Any song
Is
by the
it?
Chili Peppers, let's
Do you
go.
remember who walked
Yeah,
out to it? I can't remember now, but I don't know if it was BJ or someone else back in the day, but that is an epic walkout song.
yeah, that'll get you going. Yeah,
100%, mate.
how
To-
good.
Mate, Tom, we've done it all again, mate. I can't wait to see what camp fighting around the world you get into next. I'm going to keep trying to plug away at my four-stripe white belt, not break my neck. And lovely to talk to you again, mate.
You too, Dane. It's good fun. Yeah, I'm pumped for JDM, and let's hope he can do it on the weekend.
Let's do it. UFC 315 Sunday. Bring it on, baby. Another Australian champion. Thanks a lot, everyone, for listening to Season Ticket Holders. We'll catch you next time. Thank you a lot. Bye bye.
1, 2.